31 on Tuesday, March 4th, 2025. I call a special meeting of the Kingsville Independent School District to order. We will have roll call. Joe Mireles. Martin Chapa. Here. David Garcia. Here. Jacob Perez. Here. Delma Salinas.
Here.
Brian Kufal.
Here.
And Joseph Reese. Let us let the record show that there's a quorum of board members present and that this meeting has been posted in accordance with Government Code Chapter 551, State of Open Meetings Act. We move to a moment of silence followed by the Pledge of Allegiance and the Texas Pledge.
To the flag of the United States of America, and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Honor the Texas flag. I pledge allegiance to thee, Texas, one state, under God, one and indivisible.
We move to item number 4, adoption of the agenda.
Mr. President, Board of Trustees, there's been a quick rearrangement of the agenda. We could please move the DGVA local grievance into open session before the board retires into closed session. We'll be hearing that in this board session.
So is there a motion to accept the adoption of the agenda with the change? So, motion made by Martin Chapa, second by Delma Salinas. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries 7-0. So, of course, we have individuals that want to address the board. Does that, we start with that? Or?
Yes, sir, we can start with that.
We have 4 individuals that wish to address the board. Margarita Cantu.
Superintendent, members of the board, I'm just here as support, as needed for Margarita.
I'm here because my granddaughter, she goes to Howdy Elementary School, and the dress code was for her not to be wearing any black clothes. I need for you to check your dress code and
I think what she's trying to convey is, if you guys could take a look at the dress code or bring it up to an agenda, because, in it states that administration has the final word, and I think that administration is allowing, kids to get bullied by what they wear. I think it's going overboard is what she's trying to say, and if you take a look at what's right or wrong, I believe this isn't a grievance, we don't want any grievance, but I believe she was wearing a black dress, which seemed appropriate. I was told it was not. And they just are very confused and are tired of hearing one thing and another and seeing on the grievance that it says one thing, but hearing another.
Thank you, Ms. Cantu. We now have Orlando Moya.
Good afternoon, board. My name is Orlando Moya. I'm a local guy, correct? Our roots are from Kingsville, all the way down to my great-great-grandparents. I was born here. My wife was born here. My kids were born here. My kids all go to school here. The reason I felt it important just to come up and speak on how I feel about the Harvey playground situation. So I grew up here again. I remember going to Clayburgh School in the 90s and having that playground that was kind of by the creek. It was a big part of my childhood. I have a lot of memories in that playground. A lot of friendships were made in that playground. And to be quite honest, these are still friendships that I have to this day. Now, I wasn't totally aware of the whole situation, and I may not be fully versed on the situation. But what I can say is I have two boys. One's gonna turn 1 this year and another gonna turn 2. So I feel directly kind of impacted by this situation because I think here in a few years, my boys will be attending Harold. When we live in the Briarwood subdivision, that's where they will be attending. I don't care what has happened in the past. I'm not a problem-driven guy. I'm a solution-driven guy. Again, we're deeply embedded into the community, sports, kids, school, the whole deal. However, I can help to make this happen for the kids. I will. You guys have my word. I will be a solid advocate for that playground. I think again, going back to, I think it is important that it does happen because it creates, a future, friendships, the whole deal. Plus, I haven't seen a kid with a broken arm in years. And we need more kids with broken arms. Get the sound out of their hands, So, yeah, however I can help, I just, I know there's going to be large topics on funding. If we had funding in the past and we don't have, again, I'm not a problem-driven guy. I'm a solution-driven guy. So, however me and my community members can help, we're all for it. So we're willing to make something happen if we can, and we'd love to see that. Thank you. That's all.
Thank you, Mr. Moya. We now have Elizabeth Ramos.
Good afternoon, Superintendent and Board of Trustees. I'm not as nice, I'm sorry. I'm here to request that you put on the next agenda, topic of discussion, to purchase or obtain a brand new playground for Harold Elementary campus. Quote, "Nothing you do for children is wasted," end quote. It's a quote on the Harold Elementary PTO Facebook page. Unfortunately, the quote isn't true for the Harold kids, as the money the community raises for them to have a new playground is going to save money from the district's general fund instead of it disappears into thin air. For over 10 years, parents, students, and community members have been raising funds for a new playground area. Throughout those years, principals have convinced the PTO to use those earmarked funds for the playground on campus incentives for teachers, lunches, parties, awards, programs, etc. instead. The majority of these uses should be in the campus budget from the general fund. When I was a trustee, I begged KUFAL to allow all trustees to do a facility walkthrough. It was truly a failed attempt. If you did a walkthrough, you can see the condition of the play area. To save yourself a trip, I posted those photos and descriptions of the play yard on my group page, Kuki Kingsville. It is time the board and the superintendent cared about the kids of Harold and purchased a play yard out of the general funds or a grant ASAP. The average cost for a school play yard is $1,000 per student. Per 2024 TARPA report, Harrell has 309 students attend. 291 are economically disadvantaged and 83 students with disabilities, 16 with physical disabilities. The average cost for a new play yard would be $309,000, not including the addition of adaptation play for kids with disabilities, current inflation, and installation, which could be done by the community members for free. Paying for this out of the general fund should not affect the teachers or the students in other ways to compensate cost loss. I hear Harrell is also getting a $1 million library soon, so you guys can also do a play yard. More statistics for you. Harrell has been one of the 4 leading campuses for average daily attendance, helping the district bring more money in from the state. Write this down. Title 19, Part 2, Chapter 103, Subchapter AA of the Texas Education Code states that all schools in Texas are to provide recess and physical education for 135 minutes per week. Title 19, Part 2, Chapter 116, Subchapter A, which y'all should read word for word, states that kids should A, demonstrate correct techniques while hopping, galloping, running, sliding, skipping, and leaping. B, demonstrate correct jumping and landing techniques from different heights, end quote, and a bunch of other pertinent information that must be taught at grade level per TEKS and per what local SHAC committee presents to the board to vote on. Playground should help kids with imaginative play, inspiration, help kids develop social skills, physical strength, and cognitive abilities. We also help kids learn to regulate their emotions. All right, I need some of that myself. It helps kids develop problem solving, reasoning, and memory skills, and help kids develop operational thinking amongst other dozens of benefits. End of story, we want a new playground in the future. We want to see it on the next agenda. I'm doing this for the kids and the kids only. If KISD can spend $1.1 million on a new track that is barely bringing in any revenue, it can buy a new play yard to stay in compliance with TEA and insurance liability and help the overall health and well-being of our students. The one that we have is old, sad, not fun, neglected, dilapidated, and unsafe. Zero funds should be used for the PTO fundraisers on the play yard. Harold could use it on something better, such as field trips, pizza parties, dances. I've heard rumor that the superintendent wants to close down Harold to save money. Hopefully she can clear up those rumors since we're getting a $1 million library. In KSD's new promotional advertisement on the district website for a video, it states, click on the link to see what your KISD public school has to offer when you walk inside our doors. Maybe you and the superintendent need to walk outside the Harold play yard and see what KISD has to offer your constituents' kids. It's not pretty. We'd appreciate your help. It would be nice if you reached out to the community to get grants and see where we can come up with a very nice play yard for our kids. Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Ramos. You now have Thelma Hernandez.
Good afternoon, everybody, or good evening. I just wanted to say that I'm here to support. Sorry. I just wanted to let you know that I've been in the district 37 years. I'm here to support Madison Hamilton and others that would have been here tonight. We just got a very late notice that it was happening tonight. We had a lot of people in the district that are here for the attendance, and we support everything she's doing for us. And we thank her for bringing this grievance up, because we do have concerns about what's going on when we miss days, especially on this new platform that we're on, the 4-day, 5-day thing. So I just want to let you know that she's not here just by herself. It's just a lot of us couldn't be here tonight. And I have to be somewhere, so I have to leave in a little bit, but I did want to make my point that I'm here for her support and for all the other teachers that couldn't be here tonight, and all the other people in the district that couldn't be here. So thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Hernandez. So now we move on to, I guess, hear the level 3 grievance.
Yes, Mr. President, would you like me to facilitate this process for you, sir?
Yes, please.
Testing, all right. Do we have a live recording of this proceedings going?
Yes.
Yes.
Excellent, okay. Parties, you ready to begin? Okay. Let's see. It is 5:46 PM on March 4th, 2025. This is Nick Maddox speaking. I'm I'm facilitating this on behalf of the board president, serving as board counsel. We're here for a DGBA local grievance process at level 3. It was appropriately filed at level 1, appropriately and timely appealed to level 2, timely appealed to level 3, which is where we are today. All records from level 1 and 2 are included in the records before you board members submitted by both the administration and the grievance. I will first begin by handling the board. This board members is your time to certify that you can be unbiased in this proceeding. If you feel that you cannot be unbiased for any reason, you're welcome to recuse yourself. So I'll start to my left, sir. If you'll say, I'm sorry, my right, if you'll say your name and that you can be fair and impartial, or that you'd like to recuse yourself.
Joe Medelis, I can be fair and impartial.
Ryan Kufal, I can be fair and impartial.
Joseph Reese, I can be fair and impartial.
Okay, Chapman, I can be fair and impartial.
David Garcia, I will be fair and impartial.
Jacob Pettis, I can be fair and impartial.
Delma Salinas, I can be fair and impartial.
Okay, we then paneled a board of 7 members, so all board members will be participating in this process. How this process will work is it will be 15 minutes per party. So it'll begin with agreement. We'll have 15 uninterrupted minutes to present their position on this matter, then followed by the administration. If there's any time remaining, then that party may use that time as rebuttal time in this process. I'll be the official timekeeper. I'll give you 5 minutes. I'll wave my hand like this. I'm not waving at you, I'm just telling you 5 minutes left, just to help you keep track of your time. Are there any housekeeping matters from either party that we need to go over before we start?
No.
Mr. Connors, any housekeeping matters?
No.
Okay. So after the 15-minute presentations that need rebuttal time, the board will have an opportunity to ask clarifying questions. A clarifying question is one such as, did you say that happened on Tuesday or happened on Wednesday? That's a clarifying question. This is not an opportunity for to solicit more testimony from either party. That's what they have their 15 minutes for. I will help field clarifying questions, and parties, I will give you both an opportunity to respond to questions asked by board members. You will both have that opportunity. After that, the board will deliberate, and I believe it's the plan of the board to carry the votes until after the second grievance tonight is heard. So after the board comes back out of executive session is when the board will take action on this. If there's no further questions from either parties, we'll get started with you, Mr. Connors.
Yes, this is good evening. This is Tony Connors, and I have the honor in representing Marissa Hamilton, who is your science, biology, physics teacher at the high school, and she's had that responsibility done well for about 11 years. She has close to 30 years experience. I want to start at the outset that this is not about us versus you. It's about using your grievance process to address some serious concerns that Ms. Hamilton and other teachers have about the current platform and how leave days are accrued, used, and recorded. We're not here to seek unearned pay, less work, or criticize or punish anybody. Instead, we're asking you as a board, as a governing body of district, to hear our concerns about leave to make sure your policy is fair and the administration's implementation is proper. We had hoped to have this grievance heard at the beginning of the school year. We filed this appeal. Grievance was originally filed in April of 2024. And we filed this appeal in the beginning of September, and we're now here. We were told we were going to do it last month, but we found out that last month we couldn't do it because they were changing the policy. That's an issue, the DEA local, and I'll talk about that more. But it had been, a dollar's a dollar, even though a dollar is worth a lot more down here than it would in New York City, but a dollar's a dollar. And a day used to be a day. You got a day and you use a day and they took away a day. But now we have a different system because the District of Innovation under your leadership, we now have Monday through Thursday, and every other Friday there's a partial day. And if you miss a day on the Monday through Thursday, you're charged not 1 day, but 1.04, Or if you miss a Friday that's in session, you get docked 0.56. Now, teachers are exempt under the Fair Labor Standard Act, and they're employed under Chapter 21 contracts that only state the number of months that you have to work to earn the annual salary, and then you're paid equally over 12 months, regardless how many months you actually work in the year. And your pay is your contract refers to the board-approved compensation plan that sets out your salary range, the work days, and supplemental pay that's associated with supplemental duties like coaching, or if you have a doctorate, you get a little more money. Teachers are given by state law 5 days. They're not given hours, minutes, they're given 5 days, and that's under DEC legal and under section 22.003A of Texas Education Code. And then the local policy had been to give 5 days. And the policy up until last month, Valentine's Day, was a leave day was the number of hours per day of an employee's usual assignment, whether full-time or part-time. But that was changed last month to now read that leave day is equivalent to the employee's assigned work calendar. So we're going from what they usually do versus what the calendar says. We'll talk about the problems with that. But it's interesting they changed their policy without any telling us. We find out after the fact. But under the previous versions of this policy, the practice was to pay a day for a day. That if you missed a day, you would be docked a day. If you missed, the only exception is half days. If you missed a half day, different times you can only be docked a half day. And teachers were never paid by the hour or on increments of minutes. They were paid on annual salaries set by the compensation plans. In contrast, non-exempt employees like paraprofessionals, custodians, drivers, they're paid by the hour or increments of minutes as recorded by the time clocks. If you work less than scheduled, you're paid less. If you work more than scheduled, you're paid more, and if you work more than 40 hours per week, you get overtime. So by this grievance, we're seeking to return to the way things were done previously, that a day was a day, or a better alternative. The current system of charging more than a day for a day is objectionable for a number of reasons, including the following. One, teachers are paid under the comp plan, setting the salary, work days, stipends, and leave is given by days, not by minutes or hours. Yet leave is being taken by minutes and hours set by schedule to charge more than a day when you're absent a day, a work day. A work day is a work day. Second, if teachers are going to be docked by increments of minutes and hours, then they should be paid more by increments of minutes and hours when they work over the work calendar schedule. What's good for the goose is good for the gander. Third, teachers' work schedules, work schedules of classes and mandatory in-persons on campus Monday through Thursday and every other Friday. Those are only guides of minimum time requirements. But in reality, teachers work much more than this schedule as they did when they had a 5-day work schedule. Teaching didn't become easier by moving to 4 days with every other Friday. The federal and state and community standards and expectations didn't change, not yet. Consider date, they may tomorrow, who knows. Teachers still had to do the work outside the classroom, after school, before school, and over the weekends, faculty meetings, school events, preparation, grading, training, parent. If actual work is not being paid, then let's go back to the day-for-day system of leave. That's what we do, again, with the dollar. Dollar's a dollar, regardless of its value at a particular time. The other concern is that that's related, our teachers are still working more than 40 hours now, but it's even harder now because they have a condensed schedule of 4 days and every other Friday. It's even challenging because they have to get the same or more done in less time to prepare, train, in other words, work outside of schedules. Other districts that have gone to the 4-day schedule do not require teachers to work 10 hours per day or under less pay. In recent cases, Anasadio. As far as relief, we are asking to go back to the former system of congruence between accrued and use of leave by using days except for half days or any other appropriate relief. Now I have about two minutes or so. You want to say anything?
I just want to say that we work a lot. Yes, we are working less days, but we are still putting in just as much time. My husband and I both teach at the high school, and we probably spend at least an hour and a half every day beyond our school contracted hours talking about different things. And this is every day. And so it's just heartbreaking that when I go through to take a day off, I'm charged more than a day, when a day should be a day, regardless of me working 8 hours and 20 minutes, or from before when I worked 7 hours and 45 minutes, I was still charged a day. So I would like to go back to a day is a day, regardless of how long it is, because you could come up with a school calendar where I have to work 9 hours a day, and we're stuck. We work what the contract says. We are not hourly employees, we are contracted employees.
Yeah, so this benefits the district. It doesn't benefit the teachers at all. The teachers end up losing more if they miss a day, and they don't miss days on purpose. Those are exceptions. They miss because they're ill or something's come up, and they shouldn't be penalized by having to give up more leave that they have. They have precious 10 days that they need sometimes. So we asked to go back to the way it was, using a day as a day. Or alternatively, open it up and let's go ahead and pay everybody by the hour based on actual effort. If we're gonna do it that way. If it's gonna go against the teacher on actual effort, then let's get paid for actual effort. Thank you. I reserve the rest of my time, about 5 minutes.
Thank you, Mr. Connors. Yes, you have 5 minutes, about 15 seconds on top of that as well.
Thank you.
Ms. Morgan, from the administration, are you ready?
I'm ready.
I'll start the time when you start.
Members of the Board of Trustees, thank you for allowing me to present the administration's presentation today. I want to highlight a few things that he touched on during his presentation. First off, this policy we're referencing today was adopted in, let me get the exact date, July 23rd, 2024. This wasn't a discussion in February. This policy's been in effect for this school year. Now, I want to address a few things. So prior to 2023, 2024, it was 8-hour days, and that meant you lost 8 hours of leave time if you were to miss whenever you're on like a teacher employee. Then we moved to, in 2023, 2024, the calendar shifted, which allowed more wellness days, and also the time that teachers worked went from 8 hours to 8 hours and 20 minutes, Monday through Thursday, and then on Friday, 4 hours and 30 minutes. So regardless of this change though, all teachers have accrued 80 hours, which is 8 days of leave. Whenever they missed a day at that point in 2023, 10 days of leave. Whenever they miss, I apologize, bad at math here. Whenever they miss a day, they get that divided by 8 hours. So the 8 hours and 20-minute days were divided by 8. If they missed a 4-hour and 30-minute day, it was divided by 8. That was a day of leave. Although the DEC legal allows them 5 days, the district is considerate of its teachers. They allow them 10 days. So they are getting those days off and wellness days. So they're still being paid for a 187-day calendar for their salary, but they're not working the full 187 days. So then we move forward to 2024 to 2025. The calendar was submitted to the DEIC committee, they proposed that we transition to the 5 1 week and then 4 another week schedule. That is 8 hours and 20 minutes every single day. It's still a day is a day. 8 hours and 20 minutes is a day. If you're absent, you're reduced from. They divide that by 8 because that is how the program works for leave here. But just like if they were missing the 4 hours and 30 minutes in the past year, they still got the extra credit for the 0.56, so they could have taken more days off in that way. So when we talk about the calendar for this past year, 2024, 2025, the teachers are now working 179 days, but they're being paid for 187 for their salary. They're not working 187 days. They're working 179 days, and then every other week it's a 4-day week, and another week is a 5-day week. Regardless, the whole point that he's making is $1 is $1, a day is a day. If we were not to count the whole 8 hours and 20 minutes, that wouldn't be a day is a day. That is their everyday schedule, and that's why I wanted to address it, Courtney. Also, he mentioned that teachers work a lot, and we recognize that. They put in a lot of work to make this district great, and I don't want to discredit that. But also, they do get paid for tutoring and other approved activities such as writing, curriculum writing, and other activities as well. Overall, the whole point is that the 8 hours and 20-minute days are still equivalent. If they earn or use them, a day is a day. Not just 8 hours, because if not, we'd be giving free money to them. Dr. Pitts would like to speak now.
This procedure has been consistent with how we have treated professionals that have worked in the summer. In the summer, I've been here 12 years now, and in the summer, we have employees that work in the summer, mostly administrators, but there are some teachers that have longer calendars as well too. And in the summer, we do 4 10-hour days, so they can be off in the summer. Now, whenever a teacher or an administrator is off in the summer for a 10-hour day, they don't use 8 hours of leave, they use 10 hours of leave. And that has been, again, consistent since I've been here with this district. If we were gonna do some type of change here to be consistent, then always in the summer, whenever somebody is absent for 1 day, instead of them using 10 hours of leave, which is a 10-hour day, then they would only use 8 hours. So this would have wide-ranging changes in order to be consistent across the district, and a big deviation from how we've always done it before in the past. Now, teachers, they are working less days, 179 days, but they are working because of that. That's why the 8 hours, 20 minutes comes in on a regular day. But they have 179 days. They're getting many more wellness days. So they're not working anymore on this calendar. We have meticulously, with every single group, made sure that we have counted the number of hours. If they were working 187 days and 8 hours, we have made sure that their calendar does not exceed the total number of hours on the new calendar. Nobody in the district is working more hours than they were before on their assigned work calendar. It's just that they're working a few more, 20 more minutes on certain days, but they have all these extra wellness days during the year. In point to not asking, opposing counsel said that they're not seeking any unearned pay. Well, if we are to only deduct, let's say 8 hours if an employee works 10 hours in the summer, or 8 hours when an employee works 8 hours and 20 minutes, if we're only to deduct that amount, then what's going to happen is they are going to be essentially paid for those extra 20 minutes or extra 2 hours in the summer that they did not earn, because we are paying them for the 8 hours and 20 minutes that they are there, just like we're paying the employees for 10 hours in the summer. The policy, even though the policy was changed to add clarification. We believe that the policy as is was sufficient, because the policy as is was applicable to how we did leave always in the past. It says that leave, just to summarize, leave is earned and used in a manner that is consistent with the employee's usual work calendar. So, usual work day. So, that way, if an employee worked 8 hours, they used 8 hours of leave. And in the summer, if they worked 10 hours, they used 10 hours of leave. So even though the policy was changed, we don't believe that it was changed retroactively after the fact. It was changed just to add clarification. We believe that the original policy stands as is. If for some reason we had last year, if we had counted a day as a day, then when an employee was absent on a Friday that is only 4 hours and 30 minutes, we would have had to dock a whole day for 4 hours and 30 minutes. We did not do that. We tried to be as fair as we could for our employees. If they missed 4 hours, 30 minutes, we only took 4 hours and 30 minutes of leave. So again, all of this was, when we did this, it was try to be as consistent as what we did in the past for all of the leave in the summer, and to not take a full day of leave when an employee was not absent a full day. And even now, when an employee, like on a Friday, if it is a work day, we have told our employees that it's a work day on a Friday. If you only need to take 2 hours on a Friday, that's fine. You can do that. You don't need to be, there's no kids on that work day. So we have opened it up now to try to be more flexible with our employees, that if you don't have a responsibility with kids and you only need to take off a couple of hours on that day, that's fine. We will work with you, and we will not take a full day. That's all I have to say right now.
Ms. Morgan, does that conclude the administration's presentation?
Yes, it does.
Okay, you're at 9 minutes and 7 seconds, so I rounded Mr. Connors up, so I'll round you to 6 minutes. Mr. Connors, would you like to use your rebuttal time, sir?
Yes, I would. Well, I would say that there was a major change in that policy on February 14, 2025. It was referenced to your usual workday, which I believe tracks what you actually do. There's no mention of schedule, no mention of, it was changed now to schedule. Now, again, the schedule is a minimum effort. It's what's required to show up, but it doesn't capture the actual work. The accrual rate has stayed the same, still been 5 days state, 5 days local, and it's been days, it's changed. It's changed the way that it had been a day is a day, now they're taking more than a day. So it isn't a day is a day, because if you miss a day, they don't take away a day, they don't take one of your 10 days, they take more than one of your days. And if you start to miss 6 days, then you start to lose 7 days. So a day is not a day. Also, it's pretty offensive to suggest that teachers are asking for free money, and teachers are working less because they have less work days. They didn't choose less work days. The board decided to do that. The board decided that they could that the community could provide quality educational services, and it made sense for a number of reasons. But the teachers are still expected to work hard and put in the hours and come up with the same level of services, of teaching, of accomplishments, even though they work less days. They are not being paid by the day. You can't show me a contract that says they're being paid by a day. You can't show me any word of policy or anything in writing they're paid by the hour. They get paid by the year, and this board sets the rate, the annual rate, to be divided equally, and it sets the work days. And a day is a day. Now they've worked less than 187 days because the District of Innovation got a waiver, decided to go with less days. They're still having to meet the same quality of services when they worked 187 days. And there's no suggestion this whole thing was set up to make teachers get more money for less work. It's never been that. Never been that. To suggest that is very offensive for all the teachers and the educators that are hearing that. As far as summer school, that's a red herring. That's apples and oranges. Summer school is a special program. Summer school is different than the regular day. Summer school has exceptions, and there are a number of programs that have different pay platforms and than the traditional. But to talk about summer school is a red herring. We're just asking to go back to the old system where a day is a day, or if you really want to be fair, if you really want to make sure to be congruent that what you do on one side adds up what you do on the other side, that you want to have congruence, you want to have symmetry, then if you're going to be taking the money out of teachers' pocket to deduct them for being absent, then you should pay them more money for working beyond. You have the ability, everybody has time clocks, you clock in, we can figure that out, we can come up with a payment if you work more hours. And particularly the teachers work really hard as they're trying to get the TIA money. That's work even harder to try to get that in the hours, and there's no guarantee on that. You have to work hard. The policy has changed significantly. We have about a minute, 10 seconds. That's what I had.
The bottom line is that we are earning our leave by days. Nowhere has it ever said that a day is 8 hours. It doesn't. It says a day. A day is determined by what you've determined. Before this 4.5 day calendar, our day was less than 8 hours. Less than 8 hours. Now our day is more than 8 hours. Okay. So we get a day. We get 5 days from the state and 5 days locally. But because we are working more than 8 hours, you've decided not to give us more than those 8 hours. You've decided to take away those more than those 8 hours. So it seems unfair that we are earning it one way by days, and you are deducting us by hours. And so we just want to either be paid, earn it by days, leave by days, or earn it by hours and leave by hours. We want the system to be the same. We don't want them to be different.
Thank you, sir. Would the administration like to use your rebuttal time?
Yes, you like.
6 minutes.
I first want to point to the board policy DEC local and highlight exactly what a leave day was defined as and now is currently defined as. A leave day for the purposes of earning, using, or according leave shall mean the number of hours per day equivalent to the employee's assigned work calendar. Prior to that change, it was usual assignment, whether full-time or part-time. Their day is 8 hours and 20 minutes. A day is a day, and that is why the leave is deducted for 8 hours and 20 minutes. I also want to highlight that the teachers had the option whether or not they wanted this structure implemented. They voted, and it was over 90% for both 2023-2024 school year and 2024-2025 school year for this calendar and leave structure. The majority of teachers have expressed great gratitude for this new leave policy. And I understand we're not suggesting that they would never work hard or ever recommend that or even put that out there. We just want to address that a day is a day. And yes, I understand the frustration that can be stemming from that, but their assigned work days 8 hours and 20 minutes. That is what the leave they are being credited towards or deducted from.
If I could, are you finished?
No, let me just get a minute after you.
Okay, so one thing I would like to add, so board policy has always equated work days to a number of hours. That has always been in our policy, and it has always been in practices. So for instance, bus drivers, they work 5 hours a day and their leave is accrued by 5 hours. Their leave is used by 5 hours. Now they work 8 hours, 20 minutes, but that is an average of 8 hours if you average it over 187 days. So again, they are not working 8 hours, 20 minutes times 187 days. They're working 8 hours, 20 minutes times 179 days. So essentially they're 8-hour employees, but they are allowed to accumulate all these wellness days by working 20 extra minutes during the year. They're not working any more time as a matter than what they would if they were 187 employees. They are working more on individual days, but again, they have only 179 days. Trust me, I know that teachers work hard. I was a teacher for 20 years, and they do so much for the kids. I mean, we're all here for the kids, but at the same time, we want it to be attributed fairly. We have always, again, whenever we have had employees in the summer, whether it be professionals or other teachers, we have always, if we allow them to work extra hours in a day, like 4 10-hour days, they have always understood. This has never been a question in the past. They have always understood that if they take off 10 hours, that they have used 10 hours of leave. They have never talked about that if they have taken off 10 hours, since a day is a day, they only want to be charged 8 hours. In the system basically goes by days, but every day has an equivalent, just like it does in the board policy. Every day is equivalent to 8 hours. So 8 hours, 20 minutes has an equivalent, just like when they had 4 hours and 30 minutes. We did not deduct a full day. We only deducted the correct time, again, because our board policy says that a day is equivalent to hours.
Overall, the administration has applied the leave policies fairly and transparently across all categories of employees. The policies are designed to ensure that leave usage corresponds to the numbers of hours worked, which is equitable and consistent in the longstanding practices. The policies have been well received, as I mentioned, by the majority of employees, who recognize the benefits of the additional wellness days and reduced work days. In conclusion, the administration respectfully requests that the board uphold the decision to deny Ms. Hamilton's requested remedies. The leave policies in question are fully consistent with the board's authority under Kingsville ISD Board Policy BAA Legal and DEC Legal as well. They have been applied fairly and transparently. The administration has made every effort to address Ms. Hamilton's concerns while ensuring that the policies benefit the district as a whole. Thank you for your time and consideration.
Thank you, Ms. Morgan. Does that conclude the administration's rebuttal time?
Yes, thank you.
Thank you. I will now open the floor up to the board for clarifying questions. Counselors, I'll admonish you to please be succinct in your answers. This is not a time for more testimony or more facts. I don't want to have to cut anyone off. So board, does anyone have a clarifying question for either or both parties?
I just want to get the dates corrected. The policy we're saying was adopted July 23rd, 24th.
That's correct.
On my other side over here, we're saying that it was changed on 2/25.
Policy DEC has been around for a long time.
Okay, but
That
when was it
policy, but
changed?
there was a
That's what I want.
change over the summer in July of 2024. And then it was changed again on February 14th, 2025.
That's all I need. Thank you, sir.
I'd like to ask a question on the level 1 was submitted on what day?
On April 15th, 2024.
Thank you.
Any other clarifying questions from the board? Hearing none, I will now dismiss the parties. Thank you both for your participation. The board has a few more grievances to go through, and then the board will take no action until it returns to open session.
The board will now enter into closed session in accordance with Texas Open Meetings Act, Texas Government Code 551.071 and 551.074 to deliberate and consider the following. Consultation with attorney and to conduct a grievance hearing for the following. Discussion of level 3 grievance. Okay. for F and G local for agreement TR. No action will be taken until we return to open session. We are entering into closed session at 6:21 p.m. We now return to open session and take necessary action on matters which the board may now discuss in open session and upon which action may be taken. We're returning to open session at 7:57 PM. Item A, discussion of possible, deliberation and possible action on personal matter grievances of the following. Item 1, discussion and possible action regarding DGBA local level 3 grievance of MH. Is there a motion?
Mr. President. After hearing the presentation and reviewing the evidence presented to us, the board agrees that in theory, we would like to return to a day is a day in terms of leave days. And in that regard, we would like to direct administration to schedule a workshop in the immediate future to present to the board appropriate readjustments of how absences, leaves, and pay may be handled so as to arrive as a fair and consistent manner that is not to the detriment of teachers.
Is there a second? Second. Second made by David Garcia. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries 7-0. Item 2, discussion and possible action regarding FNG local level 3 grievance of TR.
Mr. President, after hearing the presentations and reviewing the information presented to us, the board, I move that we grant the relief sought regarding the record ceiling to the extent allowed by law as discussed in executive session. And further, we would like to encourage administration to present to us in closed session at our next meeting specific security and training methods addressing this incident.
Is there a second? Second. Second by David Garcia. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries 7-0. There being no further action, do I hear a motion to adjourn? Okay. Motion made by Mr. Vidal, second by Demo Garcia. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Meeting is adjourned at 8 PM.